They said the glacier never forgave mistakes. Ethan Cole learned that the hard way, 9 days too late. The wind screamed across the Vatnajökull glacier like it wanted to erase every human sound. Ethan's boots crunched against the frozen crust, each step deliberate, calculated. His breath came in short, visible bursts, tiny clouds vanishing into a white infinity. He checked his altimeter. 2,100 meters. Still ahead of schedule. He smiled behind the frost clinging to his beard. 2 more kilometers, then camp, he muttered into his recorder, a habit he'd picked up from years of solo climbs. The voice log was his only company, his only proof that he still existed in the middle of this endless blue desert. Behind him, the horizon had already begun to fade into a gray smear of approaching storm. But he didn't care. He had trained for this. Prepared. Calculated every ounce of weight in his pack. He didn't calculate fate. It started with a whisper, the kind the ice makes before it decides to move. Then came the roar. Ethan froze, head snapping up. A wall of snow fractured high above the ridge, splitting like glass under pressure. He barely had time to drop his trekking poles before the mountain came alive. Not now, he gasped, sprinting sideways, but the avalanche was faster. It swallowed sound, swallowed sky. 1 second he was running. The next he was weightless, tumbling, his world reduced to white. Impact. Darkness. Silence. When consciousness returned, it came with pain. His ribs screamed. His right arm didn't respond. Ethan opened his eyes, or tried to. Everything was black. He was upside down, wedged between slabs of compressed snow. His helmet light flickered weakly, illuminating a narrow pocket of air above his face. He exhaled. A puff of vapor hit the ice inches from his nose. He wasn't buried deep, maybe 2 meters, but it might as well have been 2 miles. He reached for his radio. Static. Then nothing. He closed his eyes, forcing a slow breath. You're alive. You're breathing. Think. He tried to dig, but his right arm refused. Broken. His left scraped at the snow, but the ice refilled every gap. He stopped. Listen. Nothing but the faint groan of the glacier shifting, like an old creature breathing in its sleep. He didn't panic. Not yet. Years of mountaineering had taught him that panic was just another kind of death. He felt through his pack. 2 protein bars, a half-full flask, a headlamp, 1 flare, and his satellite beacon, cracked. The avalanche must have crushed it against the rocks. He tried to turn it on anyway. The red light blinked once, twice, then died. Okay, he whispered. No signal. No rescue. He forced a laugh, but it sounded hollow. He pressed record on his voice log again. Day 1. Avalanche. Buried. I don't know how deep. Beacon's gone. But I'm breathing. I'm still here. He paused. The recorder hummed softly. If anyone finds this, tell my sister I kept my promise. I didn't stop climbing. Sleep came in fragments, seconds at a time before pain jolted him awake. He rationed water, licked melting ice from his glove, chewed snow slowly to avoid freezing his throat. He started hearing things. At first it was the wind. Then faint laughter. His sister's voice. Ethan, why'd you go alone? He smiled in the dark. Because someone had to finish it. He wasn't sure if he'd said it out loud. Later he imagined footsteps above. He shouted until his throat bled. But no one answered. The glacier kept its secrets. 3 weeks earlier, Ethan and his sister, Leah, sat at their mother's old kitchen table in Denver. Steam rose from their mugs of coffee, curling between them like unspoken worry. You're going alone again? She asked. He nodded. This is the last one. Just me and the ice. Closure. Closure for what? He hesitated. For Dad. He died on Vatnajökull. I need to see where. Leah's eyes softened. Ethan, you don't owe the mountain anything. He smiled sadly. Maybe not. But it owes me something. He'd said it half as a joke. Now, buried beneath that same mountain, he wondered if the glacier had decided to collect its debt. The air pocket was shrinking. He could feel it, a heaviness pressing against his chest. Each breath fogged the space closer to his face. He carved shallow scratches in the ice with his knife, a crude calendar. 3 marks. He spoke into the recorder again. Day 3. Oxygen low. Temperature stable. My right arm, probably fractured. I keep hearing Dad. Maybe it's hypoxia. Maybe it's something else. He paused, listening. The sound faint, rhythmic. Dripping water. He smiled. The glacier's bleeding. Maybe it's giving me a way out. He began digging toward the sound. Every inch cost him blood and energy, but it was something to do. By afternoon, or what he thought was afternoon, his knife broke through into emptiness. He widened the hole until he could crawl through. On the other side he found a hollow, an ice cave glowing faintly blue, lit by sunlight filtering through translucent walls. He fell to his knees. Cried. The tears froze on his cheeks. He had space to move. Space to think. But no way out. While exploring the cave, Ethan's headlamp flickered across something impossible. A torn leather-bound notebook frozen inside a wall of clear ice. He chipped around it carefully until it came loose. On the first page, Martin Cole Expedition Log, 1989. His father. Ethan's breath hitched. He flipped through the brittle pages. Notes on routes, sketches of ridgelines, and the final entry. If anyone finds this, tell my family I wasn't afraid. The ice is eternal. And in it I'll wait. Ethan's heart broke, not from fear but from recognition. He wasn't lost. He was following the same path. The batteries were fading. Each time he pressed record, the red light dimmed faster. His words slurred more each day, breaths shallower, slower. Day 6. Found Dad's journal. Guess, we're both guests of the same host. He laughed weakly. Then coughed. I thought being trapped meant the end. But maybe it's just the place where you find out who you really are. He closed his eyes. The ice hummed around him, deep, melodic, alive. Sometime during the night he heard it. A deep rumble, not from the glacier but from above. Helicopters. He tried the flare. It sparked once. Died. He screamed, banged the ice with his knife, desperate to be heard. But the sound faded. The rotors vanished. He collapsed against the wall, sobbing. Then he noticed, the air felt different. Warmer. A shaft of light shimmered above, cutting through the blue. He climbed toward it, digging with his left hand, every motion tearing his muscles apart. The light grew. By the 9th day he knew he wouldn't make it out. His breaths were shallow, each one a fight. He spoke into the recorder one last time. Day 9. If this is it, then I did what I came for. I saw the world Dad saw. I heard the glacier breathe. It's not death that scares me, it's forgetting what life felt like. He smiled faintly. Leah, if you hear this, don't hate the mountain. It didn't take me. It kept me. He set the recorder beside him, closed his eyes and waited. 3 days later, a rescue team from Reykjavik found the signal. A group of climbers had reported a collapsed ridge and the faint echo of a distress ping, a remnant from his damaged beacon that had flickered back to life when the ice shifted. They dug for hours. When they finally reached him, Ethan was still, his body curled near the recorder, the notebook clutched to his chest. But his voice remained. The recorder had survived, frozen solid. Inside it, 9 days of messages. They played them at the recovery site. Every rescuer stopped to listen. His final words echoed through the cold. Don't fight the silence. Learn to listen to it. A year later, Leah Cole stood at the foot of the glacier with a memorial plaque in hand. It read, Ethan Cole, he listened to the silence. Beside her, one of the rescuers placed the recorder in a museum case at the National Archive, still containing his last transmission. Leah pressed play one final time. Ethan's voice, faint but steady, filled the air. If anyone hears this, tell the mountain I kept my promise. She smiled through tears. He always did. The glacier creaked, a low, deep sound like a sigh. And for a moment she swore it answered. Sometimes survival isn't about escaping the cold. It's about finding warmth in the quiet places the world forgets. If this story moved you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs strength today, and subscribe for more stories that prove even in silence, the human spirit roars.